if you were to take like a snapshot of the modern human mind on a typical Tuesday afternoon, what would it even look like?
Chaos. I think it would look like pure chaos.
Right. It wouldn't be a laser beam. I think it would look more like a kaleidoscope
Mm-hmm.
or just static. We live in this era where being scattered is, the default setting.
It's completely the norm.
Yeah, we're checking emails while we're on the phone, we're planning dinner while we're in a meeting, and then we're worrying about tomorrow while we're trying to sleep. We just treat this fragmented state as normal.
And in that state, we talk about things like desire or motivation as if they're, I don't know, weather patterns.
Exactly. Like we're
Ah.
just sitting around waiting for the clouds to part and for this lightning bolt of inspiration to finally hit us. We treat our own ambition as something totally passive.
It's the lottery ticket mentality of success. We're just waiting for our number to be called instead of actually doing the math.
Yes, that's it. But what if we have that entirely backward? What if desire isn't some mood you wait for, but a mechanical force you actually generate? What if wanting something isn't just a feeling, but a function of, like, physics?
And that's really the core of what we're exploring today.
Today we are looking at this concept of desire force. And I want to be really clear right from the start, we are not talking about magic. We're not talking about wishing on a star. We are talking about a mechanism of focus that is as engineered as a lever or a pulley.
That is the key distinction. We're contrasting that modern, totally relatable feeling of being pulled in 1,000 directions with a concept from the turn of the 20th century, from William Walker Atkinson's work.
He describes a state where the mind isn't just a leaf blowing in the wind, but a force that can, cut right through all the noise.
And to get there, we're opening up a classic text, Thought Vibration, by William Walker Atkinson. Now, this book is, well, it's seen as either the grandfather of the law of attraction, or it's a surprisingly practical manual on psychology and attention.
It really is both, isn't it? But for our conversation today, we're going to strip away the mysticism. We're going to frame this as a manual for mental discipline. I mean, Atkinson isn't teaching us how to wish.
No, he's teaching us how to think. He basically argues that most of us are leaking power, literally bleeding out our mental energy because we don't know how to direct the flow of our own internal engine.
And that's the mission for today. We want to demystify this word attraction, which, let's be honest, carries so much baggage, and turn it into a practical system for attention, motivation, and habits.
We want to move from magical thinking to strategic thinking.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
Okay, so let's get into the machinery of this. Let's start with defining desire force. Atkinson writes in this very specific, almost Victorian style, but the concepts are incredibly relevant.
They really are. So when he uses the term desire force, what is he actually talking about? Because for me, desire usually just means I want a sandwich or, I wish I had $1 million.
Right, and that's the distinction he makes. In plain English, he's defining desire not as a passive want, but as the active direction of energy. He separates wanting from desire.
Okay, what's the difference?
Wanting is passive. It would be nice if I was fit. That requires no energy. Desire force, on the other hand, is the active mobilization of your entire mental apparatus toward that outcome. He uses this fantastic analogy in the book. He compares the mind to a dynamo.
A dynamo?
Yeah.
Like a generator, right? A huge machine in a power plant that creates electricity.
Precisely. A dynamo generates power. But here's the catch, and this is the engineering reality of it. A dynamo can generate massive amounts of electricity, but if that power isn't directed through wires to a specific machine or a specific light bulb, what is it?
It's just noise and heat. It's actually dangerous.
It's noise, heat, and wasted potential spinning in a void. Atkinson says our minds are these mental dynamos. We're generating thoughts, feelings, anxieties, plans, regrets all day long. We're burning fuel. But for most of us, that energy is just dissipating into the air.
It's not lighting anything up.
Nothing. Because the wires aren't connected to a target.
Wow, that is such a convicting image. The engine is running, the gas is burning, the RPMs are high, but the car is in neutral. You end the day completely exhausted, but you haven't moved an inch.
And that leads us to his next concept, the mental magnet. Now, I know this is where people usually get tripped up with the woo factor.
Oh yeah, they hear magnet and they think, okay, if I think about a sports car will magnetically slide into my driveway.
Which is how this book is so often misinterpreted. It really is. But that is not what Atkinson is saying at all. The safe, practical translation of the mental magnet is this formula. Clarity plus repetition plus aligned behavior.
So it's a formula.
That's the magnet. It's not magic, it's a filtering mechanism.
It sounds a lot like what neuroscientists call the reticular activating system, the RAS.
It is exactly the RAS. It's the part of your brain that filters all the information coming in. The classic example is you decide you want to buy a specific model of a red car.
And suddenly you see that red car everywhere.
Everywhere. On the highway, in the parking lot, in commercials. Did you summon them? Did you magically create red cars out of thin air?
No, of course not. They were always there. I
Well,
was ignoring them. My brain didn't think they were relevant before.
exactly. Your mental magnet was turned off for red cars. Atkinson argues that when you apply desire force, when you have absolute clarity on an aim, you are literally tuning your mind to see opportunities. You're filtering the world differently.
So if you're obsessed with a specific business goal, you might overhear a snippet of conversation in a coffee shop that relates to it.
While the person sitting right next to you hears nothing, you become a magnet for information and opportunities because you have tuned your receiver to that specific frequency.
So it isn't about the world changing to fit you. It's about you changing to fit the world's opportunities.
That's it. But there is a trap here, and Atkinson spends a lot of time on it. There's a huge difference between what he calls steady desire and anxious obsession.
And I think this is where most people fail. We think that if we aren't panicking, we just don't care enough.
This is such a critical distinction. It's the difference between sustainable success and total burnout. Steady desire is calm. It's constant. It's fueled by the will to act. Think of it like a background hum, a low-frequency vibration that just keeps you on track.
You're not panicking, you're just moving.
You're just moving. It feels inevitable. When you have steady desire, you don't mind the delay because you know the destination is already set.
And anxious obsession.
Anxious obsession is frantic.
Well,
It's rooted in the fear of not getting the thing, and that creates static rather than a clear signal.
right.
When you're in that state of anxious obsession, you're not focused on the goal. You're focused on the lack of the goal. You are constantly checking and worrying and doubting, and all that does is create noise.
It's like a radio station that's not tuned in properly.
Yes. If you're a radio, steady desire is a clear broadcast of, I don't know, smooth jazz. Anxious obsession is just that loud, screeching static. You can't attract anything with static.
And that anxiety, it actually repels the thing you want, doesn't it? I mean, because you make bad decisions when you are frantic.
You make terrible decisions. You act out of desperation.
Yeah.
And people can smell desperation a mile away. In business, in relationships, in negotiations, desperation is a repellent. It signals that you don't believe you're worthy of the thing you want.
The steady desire.
That quiet, heavy confidence that is magnetic. It signals you're already on your way.
This moves us perfectly into the next section. Mental leaks. I love this concept because it explains why we feel so tired even when we haven't done much physical work. Atkinson warns us about these mental leaks. What exactly is a leak?
A leak is anywhere your power escapes without doing any work.
Yeah.
If your mind is the dynamo generating all this energy, a leak is like a frayed wire where that energy is just sparking out and being wasted.
So you end up exhausted and ineffective.
Right. Not because you don't have power, but because you aren't containing it. Atkinson identifies several, but we can group them into 5 major leaks.
Let's go through them. I have a feeling I'm going to recognize myself in a few of these. What's the first leak?
The first leak is doubt reversal. This one it's insidious. We often talk about visualization as this tool for success, but Atkinson points out that most people are already expert visualizers.
Of failure.
Of failure. Doubt rehearsal is mentally practicing rejection or failure or embarrassment before it even has a chance to happen.
Oh, I do this constantly. I'll have an entire argument with someone in my head while I'm in the shower. An argument that hasn't happened yet. And I usually lose the argument.
We all do it.
And then I get out of the shower angry at a person who hasn't actually said anything to me.
Exactly. And just think about the biological cost of that. Your body is releasing cortisol, your heart rate goes up. You are spending real, actual emotional capital on a complete fiction.
You are literally rehearsing the feeling of defeat.
Yes. So by the time the real event comes, you're already tired and defensive. That is a massive leak. You've burned all your fuel on a phantom.
Okay, that hurts a little.
Hurts a
This is
little
just
bit.
wasted energy. What's the second leak?
The second leak is what Atkinson calls being a mental polygamist.
I love that phrase. It just paints such a clear picture.
It really does. The mental polygamist is someone who tries to love too many goals at once. Atkinson is very, very strict here. He says you cannot have 10 or 12 main priorities.
This is the person who wants to learn French, train for a marathon, start a dropshipping business, write a novel, and renovate their kitchen.
All in the same month. Yes. And what happens? They make 1 millimeter of progress in a dozen different directions, and then they burn out.
The energy is scattered.
It's like trying to water a massive garden with a hose that has a bunch of little holes poked all along the length of it. The water never actually reaches the plants at the very end. Being a mental polygamist means you're cheating on your main goal with a bunch of lesser interests.
But why do we do that? Is it just fear of missing out?
I think it's fear of commitment and fear of loss. If I pick just one thing, I have to, mourn the loss of the others for a while. It feels safer to keep them all alive, even if they're all starving.
But Atkinson says you have to choose.
You have to choose. You have to kill the lesser options to feed the greater one.
What is the third leak?
The third leak is talking against your aim. This is when you say you want one thing, but your speech completely contradicts it. You say you want to be confident, but you're constantly making self-deprecating jokes.
Or you say you want financial freedom, but then you're always complaining about how the economy is rigged and you'll never get ahead.
Exactly. It's like we do it to protect ourselves, right?
Yeah.
If I joke about being bad at something, it hurts less if I fail. It's a preemptive strike against criticism.
It's a defense mechanism, absolutely.
But it just confuses the signal. You're telling your brain, I want this, and then immediately telling it, but I am not the kind of person who gets this. It creates cognitive dissonance. It dilutes your focus.
The stepping on the gas and the brake at the same time.
Perfect analogy. Atkinson suggests that silence is often better than self-deprecation. If you can't speak for your aim, at least don't speak against it.
Okay, the fourth leak.
Checking and panicking. This is the gardener who plants a seed and then digs it up every single hour to see if it has roots yet.
And by digging it up, you kill it. You disrupt the whole process.
Precisely. This is the person who sends a cold email and then refreshes their inbox every 30 seconds for the next hour. That anxiety, that constant checking, it's a leak. It burns energy that should be used for the next task.
You're leaking power into the void of waiting.
Yes. And finally, the fifth leak.
What is it?
Inconsistent proof actions. This is acting aligned one day and completely misaligned the next. It's going to the gym on Monday with the identity of an athlete and then eating junk food on Tuesday with the identity of a couch potato.
It sends a mixed signal to your own nervous system.
Totally. You aren't building momentum. You're just oscillating back and forth. You build a little structure, then you kick it down. You have to build it all over again. It's exhausting.
So we have these leaks. We're rehearsing doubt. We're chasing too many rabbits. We're talking ourselves down. How do we fix it? This must bring us to his clean method.
Right. The clean method is Atkinson's protocol for tightening up that mental plumbing. It has 5 steps, and they really need to be done in order. You can't skip ahead.
Okay, what's step 1?
Step 1 is choose one aim. Atkinson calls this the main chance. You have to look at that list of 12 things you want and pick the one that matters most right now. The one that, if you achieved it, would make everything else so much easier.
This doesn't mean you can never do the others.
No, not at all. It just means right now, this one is the main chance.
Step 2.
Simplify. Strip away conflicting interests. If your main chance is to save money for a house, you have to strip away the interest in expensive dining or luxury travel for a little while. You just can't hold both desires with equal weight.
You have to prune the tree.
You have to prune the tree so all the sap goes to the main branch. And yeah, this requires some sacrifice.
Okay, step 3.
Repeat. Atkinson is huge on autosuggestion. This isn't just, chanting in the mirror like a character in a bad movie. It's about keeping the aim fresh in your mind.
You have to remind yourself why you're doing this every single day.
Every day. Because if you don't, the entropy of life will make you forget. The world is constantly trying to program you with its desires. Buy this, watch that, fear this. Repetition is how you keep your own programming dominant.
Step 4.
Act. This is the most important part, and it's where people really misunderstand this whole concept of attraction. Action is the physical manifestation of the mental desire.
So he's not saying think and grow rich in the sense of just sitting on a couch.
Not at all. He's saying that real desire forces you to move. If you aren't moving, you don't actually desire it. You just kind of like the idea of it.
And step 5.
Protect attention. You have to guard your mind against what he calls passing fancies and external negativity. This is the discipline of saying no.
So when a new shiny object comes along,
You say, no, that is not the main chance. When someone comes to you with gossip or doom and gloom, you shield your attention. You don't let just anyone dump trash into your mental dynamo. You have to treat your attention like the limited resource it is.
now before we get to examples, there is a very serious warning in the book. He talks about the black keys. It sounds ominous. What's this integrity guardrail?
It is ominous, and he takes it very seriously. The black keys refer to the misuse of mental power. Atkinson warns that you must never use this focus, this desire force, to manipulate, coerce, or harm other people.
So no mind control. No trying to force someone to love you or give you a promotion.
Absolutely not. The rule is simple, right? Use only. If you try to use your focus to force someone else to do your bidding, Atkinson argues it will backfire spectacularly. True power comes from self-mastery, not from controlling others.
He believes there's a moral law alongside the mental law.
He does. If you plant bad seeds, seeds of manipulation, you will eventually eat bad fruit. So the guardrail is integrity. You focus on controlling yourself, your reactions, your work. You leave other people's agency completely alone.
That is a good rule for life in general. Okay, let's make this concrete. Section 4, practical application. I want to see how this actually looks in the real world. Let's start with example A work.
Okay, let's take a typical knowledge worker. Their leak is usually scattered planning. They have 10 tabs open, they're answering emails while they're on Zoom calls, and they end the day feeling fried but totally unproductive.
The classic multitasker. Leaking energy everywhere.
Exactly. So the application of desire force here is the shift. They move from scattered planning to a single target. They identify the main chance for the day. Not 10 things, one thing that must happen.
And the action.
The action becomes these daily proof actions. They perform small tasks that prove their commitment to that one target. If the target is finishing a report, the proof action is closing the email tab and working for 45 minutes straight, no interruptions.
And the result is that focus replaces the stress of multitasking.
Yes, they feel a steady desire to finish rather than that anxious obsession about just being busy.
Okay, example B, relationships. This one is interesting because we just said you can't control other people.
You can't. So the aim here isn't, I want my partner to change. That violates the integrity guardrail. The aim is, I desire peace and respect in this home. That is your aim.
So how do you prove that desire?
You prove it through your own behavior. The proof is shown through your tone of voice and immediate repair after a conflict. Instead of wishing the other person would stop being so annoying, you focus your desire force on you being peaceful.
You become the tuning fork.
You become the tuning fork. If you hold the note of respect steady, it's very hard for the other person to keep playing the note of chaos. You change the dynamic by holding your own frequency, not by trying to force them to change theirs.
I love that image. Okay, example C, habits.
This is where most people fail. They rely on these huge bursts of motivation. I'm going to get fit, and they go run 10 miles, and then they never run again.
The mental polygamist approach to fitness, trying to love it all at once.
Exactly. The desire force method is different. You learn to desire the routine, not just the result. The mechanism is tying the desire to a specific trigger and a tiny action.
So you don't rely on willpower.
No, you rely on the mental magnet. You visualize the trigger, say putting on your running shoes, and you execute the tiny action immediately. You make the desire a routine part of your operating system, so it doesn't require these huge amounts of energy every single time. It just becomes a steady hum.
It seems like so much of this comes down to just avoiding the common traps. Which brings us to section 5, common mistakes and fixes. I think we're all guilty of these. Mistake 1, trying to want 10 things at once.
We touched on this. The fix is that mental polygamist correction. You have to be ruthless. You commit to one main chance. And this is hard for people because it feels like losing. It feels like you're giving up on those other dreams.
But you aren't giving up on them forever. You're just saying, not now.
Precisely. You're sequencing them. You can have it all, just not all at once.
Okay, mistake 2, confusing desire with desperation.
This is that anxious obsession again. Desperation screams, I don't have it. Desire says, I am moving toward it. The fix is to detach from the fear of loss. Focus on the joy of the pursuit itself.
Enjoy the work.
Right. If you're miserable while you're chasing the goal, you're just generating static. You have to find a way to enjoy the generating of the power.
Mistake 3, rehearsing doubt as being realistic. I hear this one all the time. Oh, I'm not being negative, I'm just being a realist.
Realism is so often just a socially acceptable disguise for pessimism. The fix here is to recognize that worry is just visualizing what you do not want. Why would you spend your precious mental energy building a detailed architectural model of a catastrophe?
That isn't realism.
It's masochism. You can be aware of risks without rehearsing failure. You can prepare for problems without dwelling on them emotionally.
Okay, mistake 4. Refusing proof action while waiting for certainty. I'll start when I know for sure it will work.
That is the death of desire. You will never know it will work. The fix is realizing that action generates certainty, not the other way around. You act, and then you get feedback. You don't get the feedback while you're sitting on the couch.
You have to prove the desire to yourself by moving.
Yes. And mistake 5. Using attraction language to avoid responsibility. Oh, I'm manifesting it, so I don't need to actually work.
The toxic positivity trap.
Totally. The fix is understanding that attraction requires being an active agent. You are not a waiter in a restaurant waiting for the universe to serve you your meal. You are the chef. You are in the kitchen. You have to chop the vegetables. Atkinson is crystal clear on this. Mental power is for doing, not just for dreaming.
Okay, we have the theory, we have the mistakes. Now I want to do something a little different, a guided exercise. I want to walk you, the listener, through a real-time alignment.
Let's do it. So if you're listening, you don't need to close your eyes, especially if you're driving. But I want you to mentally follow along with these steps. We're going to align your desire force right now.
Step 1.
Choose one aim you can explain simply. Don't give me a whole paragraph, just one sentence. I want to finish my degree. I want to run a 5K. I want to speak kind words to my spouse. Pick one, main chance.
Got it. Step 2.
Choose one feeling word you want to practice. How do you want to feel while you're pursuing this? Confident, calm, steady, relentless. Pick one word that's going to be your keynote.
Step 3.
Choose one proof action to take today, not tomorrow, today. It can be incredibly small. Sending one email, doing 5 push-ups, writing one single page. What is the physical proof that you're serious?
Step 4.
Identify one mental leak to cut off immediately. Are you checking your phone too much? Are you rehearsing that argument in your head? Identify the leak and just imagine putting a patch over it. Say to yourself, I am closing this leak.
And step 5.
Choose one phrase to speak that matches the aim. This is your auto-suggestion. I am a runner. I am focused. I'm building this. Find a short, powerful phrase that anchors you.
And what's the closing?
Just take a moment of calm commitment. Feel that steady desire. It's not frantic. It's heavy. It's grounded. And it's real. Now, as soon as this is over, go take that immediate action.
I feel so different than just wishing, doesn't it? It feels structural.
It is structural. You are building a mental architecture that can actually hold the weight of your goals.
Okay, let's recap. We have covered a lot of ground today. What are the main takeaways for everyone listening?
First, desire is energy that has to be directed. It's a dynamo. Don't just let it spin uselessly.
Next.
A mental magnet is built on clarity and repetition. You have to tune the receiver.
And that feeling of anxiety.
Anxiety signals a leak in your power. If you feel frantic, you are leaking energy somewhere.
And the big one.
Stop being a mental polygamist. Focus on one thing. You have to respect the main chance.
Also, action.
Action is the only proof of true desire. If you aren't moving, you don't really want it.
And we have to stop visualizing failure.
Yes, protect your mind from doubt rehearsal. And finally, integrity is the guardrail for all of this. Use this for self-mastery, never for manipulation.
This has been an incredible look into thought vibration. It's just amazing how relevant a book from the turn of the 20th century can still be today.
It really is. The technology changes, but the human mind, it hasn't changed all that much. We still need focus. We still need to plug the leaks.
Next time, we are going even deeper. We're going to be looking at bonus episode 14, The Great Dynamic Forces. We'll be talking about how to take this directed energy and really amplify it.
That is going to be a fun one.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.